The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, we might not be on Broadway, might not be all the way downtown, but there's just something about this wonderful track just outside of Nashville that really gets me going and gets me excited. We were here Tuesday night with the Truck Series, and we're back on a Thursday night for Area Pro. We're playoff racing here in Nashville, and frankly, I can't wait to see how this goes. Welcome everybody here to PTR TV, where we are in for the Area Pro Series here for the second playoff race. It's Nashville Super Speedway Race 14. And yes, no, this is not Corey Silva, who you're used to seeing and hearing in the booth. You will, however, get Hunter Sleppy, so you don't have to deal with only me in the booth tonight. Corey has decided to go through a thunderstorm on a Thursday night, which doesn't sound fun, but, you know, there's a pesky thing called electricity that you have to go live. But we're here, we're going, and we're going to make this fun either way. Hunter, good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. I chose not to be in the middle of thunderstorms, so got that done earlier in the week, so we're clear now. But it's going to be interesting seeing this field go from 12 to 8. Got Zach Kerr, who just joined in the lobby. Some of these guys, a little bit less of a car count than usual. Let's say 26, 27. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, so some drivers already have their plans for that weekend set before the season began, and there might be a couple playoff drivers that we're missing, but we'll know all that after qualifying. But Zach Kerr is here. He is 13 points below the cutoff, needs a solid day, as does Nate Stewart if he's in the sim. Blaze McKinney, Jonathan Evans, probably in must-win scenarios. But the one driver that's locked and loaded for the next round already is Jake Nichols. And then we can actually say Sebastian Marin as well, because he's got so many points to his name that he's mathematically locked into the next round. Everybody else still got to methodically work your way through the race and make sure that you don't get caught up in a crash and could put yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, and if we see how things go, you know, if it goes like it did Tuesday night. Now, Tuesday night, me and Corey absolutely tried to commentators curse the world with this race. We went green for, I think it was all the way to the final 10 laps before there was a caution. So if we see that tonight, I won't be surprised. These drivers just, Nashville works so well for them, but we've got tons of drivers trying to go through, finish their qualifying sessions out. David Weishart going around and out. Looks like he is out with a 35.7 coming through, but it looks like his lap actually didn't count here. Zach Kerr, as you mentioned, had just joined in, and it looks like he has put in a time just to get a time in. Now, there are a lot of end-of-line penalties that we'll go over during warm-up. There were a lot of end-of-line penalties here. I think just the end of the season, those points starting to rack up, kind of starting to hit people as they go here, as Justin Opplinger is now getting his way out of the pits to put in a lap.
Yeah, it didn't help that the first race of the playoffs was Bristol, and usually that's calm, but for some reason this season, not the case. So there's a lot of guys with EOL. Some of them are here, some of them are not. So they can't serve it today. They'll have to serve it next Thursday when we go to Las Vegas for the second round of the playoffs. Now I'm looking through Furness, Lakatos, Robertson, and Batby, along with Blaze McKinney. They're all in line to serve their penalty tonight. As for the rest of the field that we see with the OLs, currently not here, but here's the 50 of Lakatos, looking to get somewhat of a solid lap in as he scrapes by without hitting the wall and comes through the trial.
Yeah, Casey coming through, just P21 on the run. Not perfect for him, but, you know, again, he's that PTR TV car. We kind of have to show him love here in the booth, or at least I do. Call me out for it, being biased, being unbiased, either way. I'm going to show him some sort of love here. Number 77 with 3 seconds left to go, Michael Venable, who it looks like is just slow pacing around and came through. And, well, it looks like qualifying is over. We'll get this playoff round 2 qualifying session moved over, and just kind of looking through the field. 28 cars here tonight. And if you are joining us live here, make sure you go and join us, whether it's here on YouTube or you might be joining us on the area Twitch. If you're joining us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We're on the chase for 1,800 subs. Just need a little bit of help to get there. If you're joining us on Twitch, make sure you subscribe over on the area iRacing Twitch. $4.99. Get those custom emotes and all of the fun things there, and support the league in what they do. Now here is that wonderful end of line penalty run chart. I did not put driver names. As you said, Bristol really kind of showing its head here, but this is where we end up. 11, 14, 15, 28, 39, 4, 46, 50, 64, 71, 87, 98, 92. Try saying that about 10 times fast.
I don't think I'm going to. But I'm looking through at some of the playoffs, the standings in general. Justin Opplinger entered as the 11th seed, or 11th in the point standings. He jumped up to 6th after Bristol. And then looking through at some of the guys that lost positions, Jeff Wright, Travis Spector, John Forbes Jr., Zach Kerr, Blaze McKinney, they all lost a spot, as did James Scioli. But Nashville, I'm looking through, there's not too many guys with starts here. Scioli does have a win at this track that came all the way back in Season 3, the last time we came here. Beckner with a couple of starts, 1 top 10 to his name, and then Nate Stewart also had a top 10 finish back in Season 1, but it's been so long since we've been here for the Pro Series, so there's still a lot of unknowns that are going to be answered in just a handful of moments, but I love the unknown because there's just so much that can happen. And like you mentioned, Tuesday night, it went relatively caution-free up until about 6 to go, and then you had some guys up there that were mixing it towards the end, like Garrett Grant and David Weishart, some guys not in the playoffs, but I'm looking forward to seeing if that can happen again tonight. For some reason, this is a good track for Garrett Grant, and in the Cup side of things, we've had back-to-back races in the playoffs swept by non-playoff drivers. So this could be another opportunity to see a non-playoff driver win tonight.
I like it when it's a non-playoff driver that wins, because it just mixes things up. Now, granted, those playoff drivers running through, they're going to be looking for a lot to give here, and we saw Tuesday night, and a little bit to a degree Monday night, if I remember correctly. Now, I watched Monday night. I don't cover Monday nights, of course, Monday nights being on the IDK Player YouTube channel. So there's a little bit of iffiness there for me, but I feel like fuel strategy is going to be a big play here tonight. But nevertheless, that gets us through here into our grid. And this grid, of course, brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. And coming through on that Central Mobile Homes starting lineup, tell you what, Hunter, why don't you take us through the top 10 here?
Alrighty, starting on the pole, it's Sebastian Mayer, the guy to beat as always, and then James Scioli going to start alongside him in second, our Season 3 winner at this track. Matthew Bappy, probably best qualifying effort of the season, in third, alongside Jake Nichols, the Bristol winner, in fourth. Rolling off fifth, it's Jeremy Miller in the 30, and alongside him, it's Nate Stewart in the 05, a playoff driver to keep an eye out for, as is this fourth row of playoff drivers, Jonathan Evans, P7, and then P8 is Blaze McKinney, both guys below the cutoff line heading into this race. Brody Falker, 9th, and then 10th is Garrett Grant in the 5.
Moving on from there, we're going to go P11 on the day, taking up Logan Clampett, with 12th place being Brad Slaughter Jr. here. And then Jeff Wright, P13, Justin Opplinger in 14th. Daniel Day, he'll start his day in P15. Reese Schaefer, 16th place. And then from there, we're going to go P17, Bryce Sinisak, with Greg Mitchell in 18th place. Joseph Berg, P19, with Braxton DeWeese in P20. Only 8 more drivers left here on the grid.
21st, Ryan Nowicki. 22nd, Casey Licata. So then The row behind them, 23rd, we'll find Michael Venable and John Furness, 24th. 25th, it's going to be Travis Speckner coming from deep in the field, and same for Zach Kerr, 26th. So those playoff drivers going to keep an eye out for, as is David Weishart and Ed Robertson in the final row. 28 guys here. Glad you could all join us, including the field. Glad they can all join us as well for this session of Nashville. I believe we have 140 laps, if that's correct.
That is correct, which is funny because I forgot to update the race details from the last time I covered the Area Pro Series, which was all the way back in Dover. So Scioli rolls backwards there for a second. But yeah, 140 laps here, no stage, 4 sets of tires, 100% fuel, fixed setup, 3 green-white checkers is what we're looking at here. So in theory, this is a one-stop race. Tire wear and lap drop-off makes me wonder if we won't see a lot of two-stop races here on the run. I think anything is possible. It's just a matter of who's going to want to do what.
Yeah, some of the drivers I was eavesdropping over. I shouldn't say talking to. I really wasn't talking. I was eavesdropping. But they mentioned about the possibility of doing 2 stops, and also the later in the run, the tighter the car is going to get. So it's not going to be a loose handling car. It's going to be a tight handling car. And David Weishart described it perfectly. It's a night setup run during the day. Hotter temperatures, slicker racetrack, less grip, more drivers sliding around trying to find answers for their car, and puts on a better product. But the setup that they were given, it's going to be an uphill battle for some guys in the field, but it's going to be great for us because we don't have to drive it. We just have to watch it, and should be fun.
I never claimed to be a good driver. I always claim to be a good commentator and enjoy what I'm seeing here as the cars come through around this front stretch over and out. Cracker Barrel logo, nice and bright here. Now, will there be any yard work that has to be done for this Cracker Barrel logo today? Through practice, we saw a couple of guys have moments, so it almost wouldn't surprise me to see that go through. I'm sure Cracker Barrel won't be happy about that, but hey, it's what happens when you make really, really good biscuits and chicken and dumplings.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to have much go on the front stretch. And looking through our history, we actually, last time we were here season 3, we went caution free in the 2 races that we did have yellows, season 1 and 2. They were around with 80 to go and then 68 to go, so not really going to be late yellows, but I think they took place more so in the turns rather than on the straightaways. So also the winner from all 3 races have come from within the first 2 rows. No one has won from the pole yet, as we're looking to see possibly Sebastian Marin be the first to do so.
Yeah, exit of 2 was a big problem Tuesday night. So if we see anything happen, I feel like it'll be there. But the Pace Mustang pulls off here. We come up to the Echo Park restart zone, and we're going to be getting underway for 140 laps here in Nashville. In the Music City we go, and nevertheless, we get away. Sebastian Marin with a great race start here, and that's going to be Jeremy Miller in second place just behind. James Scioli will hold on to third. Jake Nichols in fourth. They'll stay 2 by 2 starting out this run, and we'll see them eventually fan out, but everybody exits turn 2. No drama, no chaos, and they keep it going.
Yeah, that'd be one of the ones with EOLs. That's why he went from third all the way down towards the rear. Jeremy Miller, big pickup all the way up to second. Meanwhile, Evans looking to have a big points night, needs to in order to advance to the next round. Possibly a must win, but he's in the top 5 so far.
Yeah, keeping that top 5 moving and grooving here. Sebastian Marin already opening up the gap a little bit by about a quarter of a second here. And then we see that number 30 of Jeremy Miller with it almost looks like an A10 Warthog style look on his car. He looks like he's ready to go and maybe hunt some things down there in that sim wrap market. Number 30, that is an A10 Warthog that I'm seeing. Okay, I'm glad that my aviation knowledge somehow proves handy in NASCAR. Also see it back here with Nichols, Jake Nichols, having the same look in that number 73.
609 boys, they usually have their paint schemes similar, just different color schemes. It's red for Miller, purple for the 73, and again, Jake won last week at Bristol, so he's the only one that's stress-free, really, and Sebastian Marin as well. And then I'd say Logan Clampett as well, because he's not really going after anything other than wins, so this is just another night in the sim for him. Meanwhile, behind him towards the 9th position, Garrett Grant, Jeff Wright, and then Daniel Day circling in the back.
Yeah, and side by side they go here, the 5, the 48, Pepsi Zero. If you watch our Wednesday night series here on the channel, you'll know that Coke has a predominant sponsorship on Wednesday, so nice to see Pepsi get a little bit of love there. Side by side, we see the 5 and 61, Daniel Day to Garrett Grant, and on the high line will be Garrett Grant, which isn't the most ideal way. That 61 of Daniel Day will sport the low side here, and that's going to let Justin Opplinger get down into the low side. Again, this track, as much as I want it to be multi-groove, it really does feel single groove all the way through as it runs. So it's really, once you kind of get into the rhythm here, you just sort of run single file through the track for a long time, and if you can get underneath someone, typically you get past them. It races very weird for being called a super speedway track here in Nashville.
It's a very unique racetrack. It's all concrete. It's not really a mile and a half, not really a short track, but it's got characteristics of both. As we look at Nate Stewart running in the 7th spot, he is below the cut line heading into this race, tied for 9th with Zach Kerr. So both those guys 13 points out of the cutoff heading into this race, and running in the top 10 so far, having a solid effort. Jeff Wright in the back, the Talladega winner. He's sitting somewhat comfortable in points. He's sitting 6th, just about 10 points above the cut line. So if he can have a solid effort, that'll be good enough for him. And Opplinger just needs to keep it clean because he's up so far in the point standings. He's 6th right now. We're on board with him in the middle of one.
And right on board with Opplinger here for a moment as he goes through, chasing down that 61 back here in 10th place. You see he's going to try to dive to the inside, wants to try to get the nose through. Can he get that clear to the inside? Well, for the moment, yes, and the 1 will come down, cover off. Brody Fallecker will fall down and hold off there as Opplinger clears his way up into the 10th place, but I say that'll probably swap back through. Right now, Sebastian Marin up in the front here, holding off Jeremy Miller by about a quarter of a second. At A10, I'll tell you what, it is just going to go hunting on the run as it stands. That number 30 of Jeremy Miller, just look, I mean, I love that. In a little background for those who don't know, I'm a big aviation nerd. I have about 600 hours in DCS, with a lot of those being in an A10 Warthog. So just seeing that behind you, I mean, let's hop on the rear deckwood here of Sebastian Marin. I mean, you just, well, we're not in a wall. You just see those teeth behind you, and you kind of look and you go, okay, there's something coming.
Yeah, Miller's been able to keep up with the 24 for now as we're about to approach 10 laps on this run. So we'll know in a little bit just the fall off and who's moving up and who's moving down. But in the back, I think you see Jeff Wright and Nate Stewart swapping positions. I think Wright up to 7th, Stewart down to 8th. But yeah, the 24 is hooked and going so far as you look at the rear of Nate Stewart. See Brody Fallecker closing in really close through 1 and 2.
Yeah, this pack right here, I mean, this has just been a great little battle that's continued along. And then we jump back a little bit further here, starting with Venable, Slaughter, Beckner, and Zach Kerr. These 4 are in a very, very tight battle as well, that has not let up yet as they just continue to hold on, kind of nose to tail, looking 2x2, sometimes single file, just keeping each other very honest. But as Zach Kerr goes to the inside, takes the inside of Beckner. Beckner's going to try to hold on here, come around the outside if he can. Let's see, can he pass through? Zach Kerr's going to hold on for the moment, but right as they do that, I was going to say this track is so hard to pass on for some reason. As
Kerr again in the Beckner.
That was the lightest of love taps, and able to keep it together. That's going to open things up for Batby to come through. And I tell you what, that might have been the gentlest corner tap I've ever seen in a corner, in a turn. Yeah,
that was almost disastrous for both, and especially Kerr. You don't want to risk wrecking your car and making enemies this late in the season, being a playoff driver. So live to fight another day, and Batby will go around to the outside of him, and now he's trying to search for grip to go along the outside of Beckner, but for now it won't be much, and Kerr will have to settle in line behind him. That is 17th and 18th on the track, behind 16th place Travis Beckner.
So as they continue to battle here, further back in the field. Looking back up front, Logan Clampett is continuing to keep this pressure going on Jake Nichols, and down the inside Clampett's going to go on Nichols. Let's see, can he hold the pass? He's going to go through, and he will clear him through the middle of 3 on the exit of 4. Here we go, and great move there to clear. Now we come down the front stretch, and they'll just settle back in single file. We'll see if there is a response down into 1 there between Nichols and Clampett. There's not at the moment.
That tucked in line as the 73 let the 42 go. 48 is up to 7th, and a little further back outside the top 10, some side-by-side action. Brody Falker and Bryce Senesac in the 09. That's for the 12th position, and Senesac looking to get a good launch out of turn 4 and steer clear of the 1. He's got Venable breathing down his neck in the 77. Going to give him a little bit of momentum down the front stretch.
And as they go down into turn 1 here, you can see that 1 decides to take the very, very high line, and Venable will just drop low there. Senesac will hold on there in the 09 as Falker will just, again, takes that very high line. Not the fastest way around the track, but sometimes that's just the way you need to go and just live to fight another day. Up front here, Scioli and Jeremy Miller battling it out. This was a battle that I wasn't expecting to see, but Jeremy Miller losing some pace here, and Scioli is going to get past him. The number 7 will move up into 2nd place. Hold on there. And Jeremy Miller possibly about to go down into 4th.
Yeah, it seems like the longer we get into this run, some of these guys are starting to fade towards the rear. And it seems like that's happening with Jeremy Miller. He's fallen to the clutches of James Scioli, about to do the same to Jonathan Evans, who, again, needs a solid performance. So here's a little tidbit for those that are watching and keeping up with the playoffs. So a couple of drivers are out. I believe those are John Forbes Jr. and Zach Nichols. A couple of the drivers that are here tonight, Nate Stewart and Zach Kerr, if they both finish 8th or better in the race, then they both advance and knock out Zach Nichols, who is not here tonight. And then if they don't, it's a heads-up race between Stewart and Zach Kerr for the final spot. Just a little tidbit of information. And Stewart's having a solid night in 8th so far, and Zach Kerr still trying to work his way through the field outside the top 15, currently placed 17th.
Yeah, and as he runs through here, checking in with Nate Stewart, down 2 places on the night, but still doing a good job nonetheless. Consistency is key, and remember, it's not about where you're at on lap 18. It's about where you're at on lap 140. That's what I said Tuesday night. That's what I say a lot in these races is these earlier laps, you can afford to sort of lose a position or 2, a guy to hang out. It's later in the race where you really, it can be worth the fight here, as Jeremy Miller is really losing time here. Logan Clampett's going to go up the inside now. Jonathan Evans went up the inside already, and now Logan Clampett's going to come up the inside, try to make this pass work, try to clear his way through. Still holding on here side by side. Still holding on here side by side. Maybe a little bit of a love tap there. And they'll drag race down the backstretch here. Into 3 we go. That 42 still on the inside. Still on the preferred line. And will make his way through. As now Jake Nichols is going to be on the hunt here. Will he pass his teammate? I would imagine the answer yes. Playoff driver versus non-playoff driver. I'd say he's probably going to give it up here.
Well, tight at the moment, but going in the 1, the 73 with the preferred groove. The 30 going to back off a tad bit. Try to let him in. And they'll do just that. So Nichols into the top 5. Miller outside the top 5, down in the 6th position. And then I was looking a little further back, it seemed the 5 of Grant getting closer towards the 55 of Opplinger. We saw him losing spots towards the beginning of the run. Seems like he was saving tire because now he's back inside the top 10 and slowly but methodically trying to work his way through the field.
Yeah, we're on lap 20, and I do apologize for missing this earlier. Kind of working a couple of different things here at once, but I'm getting some information about a lap 1 incident that we may have missed out on seeing. Let's see if we can't dial up a real quick PTR TV replay of this. Try not to take too much time here while they're going, but we did miss this moment. It looks like something happened with Braxton DeWeese on lap 1. I'm going to see if I can't dial this up a little bit better. So it looks like if we go back in lap 1 with Braxton DeWeese here, it looks like there was a big moment early on that cost them there on lap 1 that we missed. So we'll follow this through for a moment. Again, this was back on lap 1 as they come through. So I know this happened within the first lap or two. And there it is, the 13, the 2, the 12, and it looks like the 13 up into the wall he goes. So that knocked him out. And then Ryan Novicki was out as well. The 2 of Greg Mitchell continued along from that one. So early lap 1 incident that we missed out on. Again, apologies for that, but we get things back here live, done, and dusted.
Yeah, Reese Schaefer also with some issues in the 07. He's towards the back, 12 laps down for now. Not sure if he's done for the night, but definitely out of contention for the time being, as we're 23 laps in. Still no yellows to this race. A 1.1 second lead for Sebastian Marin over James Scioli, Jonathan Evans, Logan Clampton, and Jake Nichols. Currently your top 5. And then, Brad Slaughter getting to the wall there, coming out of 4. Right around where Blaze McKinney is, one of our playoff drivers who is below the cutoff line heading into tonight's event, and picking up a valuable position there. Again, each spot is a point, and every point matters, especially those below the cutoff line like Blaze McKinney. So a little freebie there for the 87. Meanwhile, Bappy trying to work his way back inside the top 20, below the 8 of Brad Slaughter.
Yeah, this battle back in the back, this is really where, you can kind of look a few different ways with it. You can look up front and sort of, see where the gaps are at, the strategy play up front, or you can watch these battles in the back, because some of these battles in the back are really, really aggressive here. Daniel Day, Nate Stewart, the 61, the 05 going side by side at the moment as they go along. It looks like they are going to continue the battle there. Justin Opplinger is going to be thinking, hey, go ahead, do that. And again, the unique situation of Nashville is you don't really get near as much of a run here with people battling as you do at other tracks. Some tracks, the guys behind start battling, and you can stretch and get an advantage and get away a little bit. But here, you do that, and it's just not as advantageous for the cars behind you to battle to you as it would be at other places. Because here, I don't know if it's the nature of the track or what it is, but there's just not that much to be gained, not that much to be lost here, it feels like.
Yeah, it's a fine line trying to balance between the two, whether you're pushing early or you're preserving tire, because you don't want to do too much of one, otherwise you're not going to get too much at the end of the run. But yeah, it might be because of the surface. It's a concrete oval. It's the longest concrete track that we go to on the circuit. It's the longest concrete track NASCAR goes to on any circuit, but just a fine balance between the two, and it doesn't help with the hot temperatures that it's going to be more wear and tear on the tires. As we're seeing now with the 26 of Evans, the 42 of Clampton, the 73 of Nichols. They all went by the 30 of Jeremy Miller, who is about to fall into the clutches of Jeff Wright. And then I mentioned earlier about tire preservation as we're in car with Jeremy Miller. Garrett Grant's up to 8th because he fell back early, let some guys go around him and start preserving the tires. This is one of Grant's best tracks, so he knows how to get the job done and put himself in the right place at the right time. So little 500 IQ, if you will, from the 5 of Grant.
So let's talk about that tire fall off that lap time. So we're on board here with Jeremy Miller, right? And I'm going to pull up his last lap best laps as he crosses the line here. This is going to refresh. 33.0 last lap with a 31.3 his best lap. We're nearing 2 seconds tire fall off for him. Now, let's jump to Garrett Grant. 32.9 to a 31.8. Let's jump Sebastian Marin. 31.4 to a 32.9. And that's just a similar story as you go through the field. But Garrett Grant's is the one that really gets me. 31.8. And again, if you go back to James Scioli, 31.4. Garrett Grant really played the game early and saved a bit. So I think he's got a little bit more in his tires. But that fall off is so much here at Nashville. And it's so amazing to me to kind of watch that fall off work and see how the strategy works. Again, we're only 30 laps of 140. So at this point, what's the strategy? What's the plan here?
Depending on how bad you're in need for tires, you might want to pit early. Again, you could one stop it, but tire wear it's going to make you want to do a 2-stop. And if this goes green to the end, I think a 2-stop might be worth your buck. Possibly, if you're outside the top 10 or so, you got to do something different. Like if you're Nate Stewart, you keep losing spots, you're in a playoff crunch, you got to figure out how to get into the next round, maybe a two-stop is the way to go for you, or Zach Kerr as well. He's in some traffic right now. Brody Falker, David Weishart, Bryce Senesac, all in front of him, 14th through 17th, as 18th place John Furness looks to join in the mix.
In this battle, very, very close here and not letting up at all. And, you know, as you said, this thing could go green to the end. I mean, that is very much possible here, and it's kind of conducive to how Nashville races. This thing could run a long green here, no stage break to mix things up to kind of plan your strategy around. So you really do have to sort of go into the old school playbook and gamble and, you know, think about what you're doing here. I think the two-stop, especially from what we saw Tuesday night, kind of, you know, with the tire fall off, the math of everything, I think the two-stop is the way to go. That is the strategy I would really be leaning on coming into the night. Now, a lot of these guys run Monday nights and they run Tuesday nights as well, so they know, you know, what worked and what didn't. So at this point, you know, running Thursday night here at Nashville, you have a lot of knowledge coming in. So I would not be surprised if we see, I'd say around lap 45, the first pit stop start. If I'm not, yeah, I'd say around 45 to 50 is when I would expect pit stops to really start rolling in, and those guys who are going to do that two-stop process to go in and take that first set of tires here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the preferred strategy is amongst the field later on in the going. We'll see when that strikes, but for now, still some decent battles throughout the mid part of the pack, if you will. 13th Travis Beckner, 14th Brody Falker, and 15th David Weishart. He's broken away from the group of drivers behind him and is inching closer towards the front. As in the back, it's still Bappy and Senesac there that are door-to-door for position off of 4. That's for 18th on the speedway.
And look at Senesac rip the high line there, coming through the front stretch down into turn number 1. Again, that high line not usually the ideal line here around Nashville from what I've seen, but it is the line that is taken here. Brad Slaughter back behind also trying to run down onto the low line here around Blaze McKinney, trying to get the drive through. McKinney, one of our playoff drivers, trying to race his way in. And let's see what happens here with that 8. Brad Slaughter going to try to stick the nose in here on exit. Going to try to get a run, and we'll bring it down through that Echo Park restart zone across that start-finish line. Holds on where he's at. Lap 36 of 140 in the books here. And now look at that inside. Brad Slaughter goes through, has to give a little bit of room there to the 87 as they squeeze. And here they go off the exit trying to battle. Slaughter's there. He just can't finish the pass, but he's getting his car there.
Yeah, Slaughter in the trucks, he has a 100% win rate at this track. Didn't race Tuesday night, but we wanted to keep that intact. Perfect 3 for 3 from the first 3 seasons, but a little different on the pro side of things. So still trying to work his way around McKinney, and again, a playoff driver below the cutoff line heading into tonight's event. So he's going to have to fight and claw for every position, and this is probably one of the guys I would say you two-stop it, because if you do what the leaders are doing, and presuming they just decide to one-stop, it's not going to work out in the end for him. So you got to try something different and get some sort of advantage on the field.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, again, with kind of how stagnant things get, not a lot you could do here. Garrett Grant, Jeff Wright are going to be going side by side here. The 5 and the 48 going through there. Little wiggle from Wright there, little tap of the wall, but they hold it together here. Keep things side by side down the back stretch, down into 3, and that 48 is going to just go behind the 5 for the moment there. Jeff Wright taking the motto, live to fight another day. A good decision there from him, I would say, as they come through down the front stretch. And we'll see there, does he try to make the move again? Not at this moment. Again, checking back in a little bit further with Brad Slaughter. And he is still sort of sitting with Blaze McKinney, and Greg Mitchell sort of sitting in the sandwich.
Yeah, Mitchell's still with damage to his 2, so he's hoping for a yellow to come out so he can at least repair some of it. Don't know how much is optional, don't know how much is mandatory, but still got decent pace to be near the top 20, and the 8 still just trying to fight for grip on the track as we're crossing through to lap 40, so we're within the last 100 lap threshold of this event.
amazing to think that we've ran 40 laps so far here going through on the night. As we continue along here, watch this battle continue through. I do want to take a second, check in on our race leader as we're nearing what I would argue is the start of the first pit stop cycle if you're going to two-stop. Sebastian Marin here. Let's look at the fall off. 33.0 to a 31.4 as, what did I say? We're hitting pit stop cycles. Jeff Wright has decided to just go ahead and prove me right here and come into the pits. Let's see what Jeff Wright does here as he falls down, and he is the first person to gamble around with a pit stop.
Interesting call from the 48. We'll see if there's any more takers coming through, and it looks like it's 4 tires for the 48. I will say, though, if we got in the late yellow, I would assume you would do 2, especially looking through last night's results. Those that took 4 for the green-white checker did not really move up at all. Meanwhile, those that took 2 just stayed in their positions, as Slaughter's going to be the next one to tail the 48's call of pitting early.
And 2 tires versus 4 tires doesn't have near as much of an advantage, too. Like, you don't really get that much of a pace advantage on 4 tires as you do 2 tires on a green-white checkered. So, really taking the 2 tires, getting the track position, I would argue is better than taking the 4 tires and thinking you're going to get a grip advantage, because you really don't here, as we see continuing to watch drivers come through. Anyone else going to be takers into the pits this time by? I don't really see anyone else coming into the pits here. John Furness down the back stretch at the moment, checking in. Let's see if there's anyone up in the front that's going to decide to pit. I don't see anything here. I see Daniel Day putting some pressure on David Weishart while he is getting pressure applied from Brody Falliker behind as they go through. Yeah, I don't really see anything too crazy going on, but this is where I'm going to be interested to watch here. Jeff Wright, a lap down here, right? But look at these lap times as they're going to start dialing in. He's going to start running the best laps he's ran all race and just continue to push and push and push. And let's see how quickly he's able to work his way through, get back on the lead lap, because that is what I call a pace difference, a pace advantage.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why we saw the yellow happen Tuesday night in the truck side of things. Looked like a truck with fresher tires ran into a truck with older tires and really couldn't do much about it. So, that's really close. Brody Falliker in the 1. That's the issue with this, being one of the only guys with fresh tires in the field and encountering everyone else. You're the lap car, but everybody else is slower than you. So you got to be mindful of who you're racing against, especially those that are in the playoffs, and you don't want to upset them. So the 48's still working his way through, trying to get his lap back the hard way, even though it's looking fairly easy at the moment.
And Jeremy Miller, the A10, has decided to stop in and rearm, get some fresh Goodyears on this car. Let's see what he does here as he is in, coming through, down to the attention of his crew. Will get a clean stop into the box there as he goes through the number 2 of Greg Mitchell, now being the next car out. So here's my concern. We're lap 46, and we're just now starting to see more cars take in this pit stop. Do we think that 48 stopped a little early, and did that coerce Brad Slaughter in turn to stop a little early? I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I'm going to tell you yes, though, is what I'm going to lean on.
I would say so as well, because doing 45 and 45, that would be around lap 90 for your next pit stop. Meanwhile, if you wanted to do it in the thirds, which I'm guessing is why the 48's doing that, presuming this goes green to the end, you'd do 40, 80, 120. You'd still have about 20 laps left with fresher tires, but I don't know how much of an advantage that would be if this goes caution-free. I'm assuming that's what he's doing, and that's what he's planning on for this race, to go caution-free and to do 3 stops instead of 2. That way you have fresh tires at the end, and then if you're on the lead lap, in case a late yellow comes out, you could stay out and try to win it that way, but this is just looking into the future, and don't really know if it's accurate or not, but we'll see as the laps continue to dwindle. Meanwhile, top 5 battle up for grabs. Jake Nichols 4th, Jonathan Evans 5th. Looks like Evans trying to get back around the 73.
And I'll tell you right now, more and more and more cars into the pits here. Michael Venable's in. The 48, it looks like possibly... No, he has not come back in. He's still out and running about. My software playing tricks on me there for some reason. I thought he had hit in again.
Tell you what, that 73 just came in.
73, Jake Nichols making the call to come in here. Let's see what Jake Nichols has. And behind Jake, that is Zach Kerr, who is coming in here and going through. Let's see how their pit stops go. Jake Nichols again trying to come through as Casey Lakatos is in a good little battle there with Joseph Berg, last of the drivers that haven't pit yet, coming through. And it looks like Sebastian Marin. Oh, Clampett scaring me there in the background. Marin's in, Clampett's in, Evans is in, Grant is in. So now the leaders have decided lap 51 is where they pull the trigger and they pit in.
Yeah, this might be a bit more of a decent strategy because you would split it 50-50. That'd be around lap 100 when you'd come back in for your next pit stop, presuming you're sticking to that. So interesting to see in those come down on lap 50 rather than 40 or 45. 42, the 26, the 5, and the 24. All guys we're going to have to keep an eye on for the rest of the night.
And here's where things start to get real messy. So you saw David Weishart there just come through the shot. And David Weishart absolutely flying now. Meanwhile, you have these guys who have hit in so that the field's starting to cycle its way through, as we see here. We'll pull up our stint graphic on the side. As you can see, the top 9 still need to pit there on your screen. Make that the top 7 still need to pit. So Casey Lakatos ran a 33.7 his last lap. I think Casey's trying to make this work on a one-stop because 33.7, that is extremely slow. And I think, honestly, if we hop on board with him here, he might be clutching. He might be fuel saving. I'm just curious to see here as we ride on board with him what he's doing into 1 and 2. Is he trying to save? Is he trying to do anything? Yeah, look at that. He's clutching in. He's really trying to save. So Casey, I think, is committed to the one-stop.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad strategy if you have nothing to lose, really. And Casey has nothing to lose. Joseph Bergs, he's doing the same as well. Clutching in the corner. Nate Stewart, mentioned him. He's currently the leader. He is not clutching, but he does get a bonus point for leading a lap, which is huge for his case. He entered 13 below the cut line heading into this race. So, again, every point matters. If you keep it clean, that's another bonus point. And not sure if he's going to lead the most laps, but that's another bonus point. And I think that might go to Sebastian Marin with the way things are headed.
Yeah, so let's see here with Sebastian Marin. Now, Sebastian Marin's been in 31.5 last lap, 31.4 best lap. So he's been in. He has led a current run of 49 of the 54 laps of this event. And I would argue it's not going to be long before he gets back up towards the front here as he goes through. He's looking really good. Smooth, consistent Sebastian Marin doing Sebastian Marin things. I've heard Corey say that, and I mean, keeping up with the Pro Series, I do understand it. Sebastian Marin doing Sebastian Marin things. He's a quick driver, really showing some great pace here as Jake Nichols is battling it out with Brad Slaughter. Now, Brad Slaughter, one of those cars that hit a bit earlier, he's 13 laps on his stint. Jake Nichols is 5 laps on his stint. But that's the tire difference. 31.6 last lap for Jake Nichols, 32.2 last lap for Brad Slaughter. So that is where that tire fall off is. As Sebastian Marin goes down the inside of the 30 of Jeremy Miller. This is a 5-lap difference in tires, and 5 laps, just enough grip to be found there. Looks like Sebastian Marin going to take what will be his lead back once these pit stops cycle through.
Yeah, working is trying to get around the 30th Miller. He's making it a little difficult for that 24, but he'll get through just A-OK. He's currently 7th, but yeah, once everyone pits. Well, actually, Jeff Wright would cycle as the leader, but presuming the 24 chases down or continues to chase down the 48 with fresher tires, then that will be the case. But for now, the top 5 still have yet to pit.
And continuing through here, this pit cycle running around, just watching again, keeping my eye on those drivers that are clutching through, that are trying to make a one-stop work. Now, if they're going to go, they'll have to go to lap oh God, I'm trying to do math. It'd be lap 70 if they want to make a one-stop work. There we go. Yeah, that's 140 divided by 2. For some reason, that was a struggle for me. As James Scioli, Jonathan Evans battle it out here side by side. The 7 goes to the inside. 26 will be on the outside, and the 7 of Scioli, they pit 1 lap difference. Not really a tire difference to be seen here, but they pit with just enough of a difference to go through as they come around. Currently, tell you what, I just caught something here. Jeff Wright, the 48, he's currently running 17 laps on his stint. He is ahead of Sebastian Marin. And he pit on lap 40. Sebastian Marin pit 10 laps later, lap 50. But Jeff Wright is ahead of Sebastian Marin, but is running slower lap times here. So this is interesting to see here. Sebastian should be able to get past him pretty quick as they go through, as Jeremy Miller and Jake Nichols are going side by side here, battling through. Do we think Jeff can hold Sebastian back?
For a little bit. I don't think it's going to be much, though, because, again, that 24 fresher tires, they do play at an advantage, so it seems like it's just a matter of laps at this point. I think it's within the next 5 laps or so, we'll see a new 6th place runner, but presumably new leader. If we don't get a yellow. If we get a yellow, this changes everything, and then track position is going to be all mangled up.
Yeah, this is such a weird situation to kind of find ourselves in. And as you said, it's all exclusive yellow that could absolutely mix this whole thing up. I never want to walk and wish a yellow into existence. I never want to wish a yellow into existence, but definitely is a possibility. As I think I'm hearing fireworks outside here. 3rd of July. Again, if you're joining us live, happy 3rd of July. Tomorrow, Friday, being the 4th of July. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you keep all your fingers as we go through. Casey Lakatos not keeping the provisional race lead that he had here, lap 62 of 140, and he is starting to get past here and drop down the order, but 1 stop versus 2 stop. Trust the process. You kind of just have to let these cars go right now.
Much fighting with these guys. I mean, 60 laps in, you get the pit. You got oldest tires in the field. Will be a challenge, though, as Scioli gets around the 30. That is for position for 9th, and then 10th down Miller, and then there. I think Lacasse just, no, he's yet to pit still. That's interesting. Evans passing him for position as well.
Yeah, Casey Lakatos dropping down the order here really quick, and I think the next car that's going to face the same fate will be Joseph Berg. So your top 4 and then Casey are the ones that have not pit yet. Sebastian Marin is your first driver that has actually pit in. So at this point, I would argue Stewart, Folliker, Senesac, Berg, and Lakatos are committed to a 1-stop regardless of what happens from this point forward. I mean, they have to hold on here and keep it going.
As Marin has gotten by not only Jeff Wright, but so has Logan Clampett, so has Jake Nichols, and so will the 7 of Scioli getting around him as well. Even behind them, they're still duking it out. That's Jonathan Evans and Jeremy Miller for position, right at the top 10, actually, that 10th spot up for grabs, but Evans will hold on to it for now. Nate Stewart leading critical laps here, still waiting on that yellow to come out to kind of flip everything on its head, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think he's coming in this time. No, he's still going out.
No, he is still holding on here. He's got to hold on. If he's looking for half race distance, he's got 5 more laps to go here. There's a hornet's nest that has caught my attention here. Zach Kerr, Casey Lakatos, really kind of the cause of it all here is he's running 34.5-second laps. Meanwhile, the rest of the field is running 32.5-second laps or faster. So, he's kind of really got himself in a position. I mean, leaders are running 32.1, 32.2s, whereas Casey is running a 35-second lap the last lap. Here's the problem, though, is he cannot abandon ship. And here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. If Casey wins this race, right, I will eat my words. Like, I will eat my words and say that, you know what, Casey was right, good decision, great strategy, blah, 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 whatever I need to say. At some point, though, you gotta throw in the towel. But he's so committed to the bit now, the entire field is past him. He's caught himself in a position that I don't...
Wow. Yeah, I know, it's a little compromising if you're the 50. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because he's going to lose 2 laps now if he pits under green. Brody Falker, don't think he'll lose 2. He'll definitely lose 1. We almost saw our first yellow of the night with Brad Slaw and John Furness getting a little too close for comfort there over in turn 2. And as we're rolling through halfway, want to give a big thanks to our sponsors. We have yet to cover tonight because it's been clean and green so far. I don't know if we got Central Mobile Homes, but they present our starting lineup and a clean first half of the race so far. Proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years in the market for a small or large home, a new shed or triple crown trailer. Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They have a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, triple crown trailers, and more. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomeinc.com to get started today. And we saw, I think, 1 replay tonight, maybe 2, Hendry County Motorsports Park. So they are on summer break. They'll be back in the middle of September. Tickets are still $20 for adults. Kids ages 5 and under are free. And actually, we have a family pack of 4 for $25. So come bring the family to see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit Hendry.com for more info as Joseph Burr comes through to make his pit stops. Again, still waiting on the 05 and Nate Stewart to come on down pit road. It's halfway through race 2 of 5 for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series playoffs, and gaps starting to dwindle more and more as Sebastian Marin reels him in.
And as we watch that battle roll in, again, big shout out to all of our sponsors that we haven't talked about because it's been nice and green, and I'm not used to being in this seat, to be honest. Usually Tuesday nights, I just run shotgun for Corey, and we kind of go back and forth with it. So, yeah, shout out with everything as we go here. Nate Stewart currently showing about 5.5 seconds. Make that 5 seconds. Make that 4.5 seconds. Make that 3.5 seconds. Make that 2 seconds, because Nate Stewart on lap 70 exactly has ran it into the pits here. Led 19 laps, and he said, you know what? I know I'm getting past here at this point. Into the pits I go. I don't want to get swallowed up by the field. I don't want to go through. And officially, we have every single driver in and out of the pits at least once. Now, remember, everyone except for Nate Stewart, except for Brody Falker, Bryce Sinisak, Joseph Berg, and Casey Lakatos will have to go into the pits one more again, to quote Corey there, one more again. But everyone at the back of the field can just run it to the end. My question is, do they have enough at this point to try to hold on to the end?
There's a lot of variables in this. And again, this is if it all goes clean and green to the end, which it very well could. It did in Season 3. Don't see why it couldn't again in Season 4, but I don't know. There's just crossed halfway. We've had a couple of close calls tonight where yellow could have come out and could have changed everything, but it's going to be real interesting to say the least if it stays green.
I personally would like this to stay green. I like strategy races, but of course my background is road racing, so this is just feels like home to me to watch one-stop versus two-stop strategies come to fruition. But of course, instead of right turns, it's only left turns, so this is always exciting to watch. Keeping an eye on this battle here just for the top 15 as it stands. This kind of starts with Justin Opplinger here, and then you go through Daniel Day, Venable Batby, multiple battles as Brad Slaughter, lap 75, pulling the trigger coming into the pits. Now this is very early.
Just a little bit too early. He's staying in the sim. Didn't know if he was pulling off for some sort of issue, but he might be on the 3-stop strategy.
I don't know. I wouldn't think that would be the decision, but it certainly is. Yeah, what in the world? All right, let's see if anyone responds to that as they go through. Zach Kerr currently in a battle with Opplinger, and behind you see the battle between Daniel Day and Matthew Batby and the 77 of Venable as they come through. So great battles up and down the field. Continuing along, Garrett Grant, Jeff Wright going side by side. That 48 on a 35-lap stint, Garrett Grant on a 25-lap stint as they cross line here. Lap 77 of 140 continuing along, and again, just keeping that battle moving and grooving here. You know, just everyone doing what they can to get to the end.
And then back here, Justin Opplinger in the 55, Zach Kerr in the 12, couple of playoff drivers still going strong, buying time. That's 11th and 12th, right outside the top 10, along with, that's Joseph Berg, but he is still a lap down. He's going to slice and dice his way through those two competitors. Venable, Daniel Day, Bappy round out the top 15. They're right there. And then John Furness, 16th on the board.
Battles continue all over the place here as they go. Nobody else has decided to respond to the pits there of Brad Slaughter as it stands. Daniel Day, Matthew Batby going side by side here, the 61, the 71, with the 28 of John Furness there just for company. This is back, again, the back end of the top 15. As they sit, they continue to battle and keep things going. We're lap 80 of 140 now as they cross the line. And, you know, as we hit lap 80 of 140, you start to look and you just kind of have to wonder who's going to go where. This race has been so... we had the one incident there, lap 1 early on, involving Braxton DeWeese, unfortunately. But, you know, other than that, this race has been very clean. We haven't even seen any sort of a, issue getting into the pits. As I check back here, James Scioli with a little bit of pressure from the 73. And then that's the 09 of Bryce Sinisak, who is just behind, a lap down, trying to work his way forward if he can, as he is on the 10th lap of his stint. He's one of the drivers trying to make a one-stop work.
Yeah, the 09 going to cut his way through the top 5, still trying to work his way back onto the lead lap, but interested in seeing the front because Clampett's closing in. It was 1.3, it was 1 second. It's now 0.8 and closing between Logan Clampett and Sebastian Marin, so battle for the lead going to heat up in a little bit. That 42 starting to reel in the 24. And again, non-playoff driver, Logan Clampett, he's just here to win. And he is close to doing just that. He's got to get to Sebastian Marin to do so.
I'm going to give a controversial opinion here. I have a feeling I'm going to get roasted by somebody for this. I think in a playoff situation, I would rather be the driver who is just racing for the win and doesn't have to think about the playoff. I think I would rather be the driver who is really in running for the win. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's a lot of pressure off when you don't have to think about playoff and points and going for a championship, and you can just say, you know what, I want to win Nashville, so I'm going to race the doggone wheels off the thing to win Nashville.
Might get a little difficult now for Logan Clampett. The 09 and Senisak coming in, going to get a little bit of dirty air. Might help him on the straightaways some, but see if we could go in sim with the 42, see what he's seeing and see what he's doing.
Hopping on board here with the 42 as he comes through, and I tell you what, getting real slow in the corner, I feel like, down to about 120 miles an hour in the corner, mid-corner. And let's see what he's doing here. So he's not clutching like we saw some of our drivers doing earlier. He's coming through and just, that is genuinely slowing down there on the run, just trying to survive his way through deeper into this race and get to his second pit stop, which is 33 laps on the set of tires into the stint. Really, he's going to be looking anytime after lap 90 as he goes through, as Sebastian Marin gets passed by Senisak. Senisak now the last car on the lead lap. keeping an eye on everything here. Clampett really gaining that time in, and he's downshifting in the third in the corners. So he's closing on Marin. I want to hop on board with Marin really quick and see what Marin's doing different. So Marin's staying in fourth, but it seems like he's carrying more mid-corner speed, but Clampett's still closing.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the downshifting that Clampett is doing, it's definitely helping him. He's reeling them in 0.6 of a second now. It's getting closer now to about half a second, but again, these guys, they still got to make pit stops, so it's going to be interesting seeing when they pit and if they pit together, because when Marin came in, there were about 3 other guys that came in with him on that exact stop. So we'll see if 42's just waiting to bend, or waiting for the 24 to bend the knee and pit and then follow him in, or vice versa. We'll have to see what happens. But Clampett, no shadow of a doubt, reeling in the leader, Sebastian Marin.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, do you want to overcut or do you want to undercut? And I mean, the way it's looking, I think I would rather undercut. If I'm Clampett, I think I would want to pit a little bit early, as we have some of these second pit stops starting to come through at the moment, as I see Jeremy Miller coming out of the pits here. That number 30, lap 88, has made his second pit stop. So I think that's going to be kind of our indication of coming through, because that number 30 of Jeremy Miller was on the list of drivers to stopping. So I would expect him to start coming through, and then basically anyone from about P17 of Ed Robertson back as they start pitting. That's going to be an interesting situation. And again, everyone just sort of has to keep it together here. You've got to call out your pit stops. You need to make sure you don't get caught up in a situation. We saw that again on Tuesday night and Monday night, where drivers pit without calling their pit stops, and they took a little bit of a tap from the back, had a little bit of a spin, had a moment.
Yeah, it's a little wonky back here. Zach Kerr, Matthew Bappy, Jeff Wright, all on the racetrack. That's 10th on back. Some guys have faded, some guys have flourished, and 77 trying to flourish his way around the 48. Jeff Wright has really fallen off a cliff. Again, one of the oldest tires in the field so far. He's yet to come down for his second stop. He was right around 7th place just a handful of laps ago, but again, as those tires age, the grip loses. It's fading away. So, I mean, you could just tell from corner exit there, 48's got nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in this time by. Daniel Day and John Furnish try to work around on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, looking at lap times here, look at the fall off, 33.4, whereas his best lap is a 31.6. So, I mean, and there it is, 48 dropping in there. That was the tire fall off.
Might have overcooked it getting into pit road.
We'll find out here shortly. Let's see what happens as he brings his car in. Did he get too fast on entry, or did he get a little lucky? Lucky is what I'm going to call it.
Saw those rear tires locking up.
I really thought that he didn't get slowed down enough. I really thought he was in trouble here. I'll tell you who is in trouble here. Race leader Sebastian Marin, 0.3 of a second, and closing the gap between him and Logan Clampett. Now, here's the question. Is Sebastian Marin going to bend the knee and pit?
I don't know, because I think these two pitted on the same stop at lap 50. I think it was these two, Jake Nichols and Garrett Grant. They all came in. Actually, no, it wasn't that. It was, I think, Marin, Nichols, Evans, and Garrett Grant. So they all came down and pitted on lap 50. So it wouldn't surprise me if they pit on lap 100 and sticking with the 50-lap stint.
I kind of expect that too, but I just worry for Marin at this point. Maybe he's going to have to do something different here because of how he's just losing time. Gap's a 1/4 of a second and closing here as they go through, as these battles continue along. More cars into the pits here. Greg Mitchell is in now. coming through. So continuing to watch these battles develop here. James Scioli is 2.4 seconds off of this battle up here for the lead that's developing. So, I mean, really at this point, pending the ultimate sort of betrayal of the racing gods, of a potential yellow that just throws any strategy and throws everyone out of the window. I mean, at this point, it is a 2-horse battle. Unless one of these one-stoppers just absolutely blow my mind, which I wouldn't be surprised on either, because one stop could be the way to go, and I just don't know it.
Very well could be. Yeah, we have to see if that's going to hold out for Nate Stewart. And again, he entered 13 points below the cutoff line, as did Zach Kerr. No John Forbes Jr., so he's eliminated immediately because he was on that 8th place spot, the last one in. And then Zach Nichols as well. Seems like he'll be eliminated from playoff contention after tonight. So those two going to have to keep an eye out for, Zach Kerr. And, oh boy, the leaderboard is going all over the place because guys are coming in and they're making their stops. And Clampett pitted before Marin.
So Clampett deciding he wants those fresh tires a little bit sooner than Sebastian Marin. Marin's going to try to hold out here. I wonder if Marin maybe was holding a little bit of time back. We'll see what happens there. Marin's last lap was a 32.9, so he's certainly going to be one to watch here. But again, his prior lap was a 32.9, so I think Marin might be kind of on the limit on pace here. But I do worry for Clampett on the back end of the race. Is he pitting a little bit too early, as James Scioli is in, David Weishart is in, Travis Beckner is in. So plenty of guys into the pits now. James Scioli, I think I already said him. Ed Robertson is in here in the 64. So tons of drivers coming through, but really the one to watch right now is...
Marin's coming in.
Marin had to respond.
Yeah, that's the problem, because if you stay out a little bit too long with the way the 42 is made up time with downshifting and whatnot, he was faster on the longer end of that run than the 24, so you don't want to lose too much time, because again, while you're sitting comfortable in points and mathematically locked into the next round, a win's a win, and you still want to win. And Sebastian Marin, he's got quite a bit of wins on the season. Still looking for that 6th win on almost said the year, season 7. We are in 2025, but nonetheless, 24 out, and we'll see where he lines up with the 42 of Clampett.
Yeah, let's see what happens here as they go along and down. Let's find that 42 of Clampett and where he currently sits. So he is currently running in P13. Marin will come out P number 17. But, again, couple lap tire difference. Will it make a big difference? I kind of don't think so. As more drivers are in, Matthew Batney is in now, going through. More drivers continue to pit in. Current race leader, as we see, is Zach Kerr.
Yeah, this is going to be big for the 12th bonus point for leading a lap. That's crucial for him. Him and Stewart entered below the cut line. Both have led a lap, so that's going to give them at least 1 bonus point to their name when this is all said and done, no matter where they finish on the track. Opplinger has opted to come down pit road, but saw on that pit stop there from the 24, he overshot his box a little bit, and it's going to be interesting seeing how he'll work through. Kerr going to have to slide in. Furness in the grass, just trying to get on the pit road. Don't really think we've talked about pit road entry a little bit too much. Saw this the first stop with Jake Nichols. He slid from the 14-degree banking over there in turn 4. It's a bit of a handful to try and I mean, the 28 of Furness, he backed up in this pit box too. It's a handful just to get on, a handful just to stop in the box. Going to lose time, valuable time for that 28, and the 12 is off and away.
28 still stationary here, a little bit longer in the box, 14.9 seconds in the box for him. Not going to be what he wants, but will be a little bit longer there as we have more cars into the box. Venable Daniel Day down through the lane here. Let's see what they have to give here. Daniel Day on the 61 will bring it in, get very quick on the stop, very clean into the box there, I would say. And let's see where he comes through. Keeping an eye again, though, on track, that battle between Marin and Clampett. And you can see it there on the timing table. Clampett's up into 5th as these pit stops cycle 11 seconds off. Sebastian Marin is about 4 seconds behind him. So still plenty of time for that to sort out. But at the moment, it seems like Marin definitely on the back foot here as we're under 40 laps to go.
Indeed, as the laps are starting to dwindle, we're within 40 to go. Stewart leads on lap 103 of 140. Again, want to give a big thanks to our partners, that being Elite Entertainment. You could add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment. I don't know if you can book them for the 4th of July, but if you're in Boiling Lake Springs, South Carolina, nonetheless, you'll be in a good spot. They provide high energy and high quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke and singo, which for those of you that have not heard, it's music bingo and more. You can visit their Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. And shout out to the High Banks podcast. It's just two blue collar guys with Nick and Alex talking about NASCAR and more. You can listen to episode 228 with our very own Jacob Bell. It's available on Spotify. And shout out to rickshotsauce.com. You can head on over for some of the best hot sauces made locally in the South Florida region. You could try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. And follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. As for this race is concerned, I think the highest rookie is, I want to say, Logan Clampett? Maybe Brody? No, not Brody Falker. It would probably be, actually, I don't know. I'm actually at a loss. I think it's Sebastian Marin because he is currently 6th, and the first 5, I would have said Nate Stewart, but he raced in season 1, so he's not technically a rookie in the Pro Series. So I would have to say the highest rookie right now is the 24 Marin.
So interesting to call Sebastian Marin a rookie, considering how great of a season Sebastian Marin's had here, as Marin is going to look to get a pass on the 2 here. Going around, a great run there. Greg Mitchell a lap down and is just kind of trying to stay out of the way at the moment, I believe, as Sebastian Marin will work his way through around 4-lap fresher tires over Greg Mitchell, who pit a few laps sooner than him as they go along. Greg Mitchell currently the only car not on the lead lap that is on track here. Casey Lakatos now actually also on that mix as the number 5 of Nate Stewart gets past him. Brody Falliker now also getting passed by Sebastian Marin. Looking through, so currently Logan Clampett is 5.5 seconds off from Nate Stewart, and Blaze McKinney there about 3 seconds ahead of that. Mixing that backwards. Logan Clampett is 3 seconds off of Blaze McKinney, with about 3 seconds ahead being Nate Stewart. Words are hard on a Thursday night is what I'm trying to get at from that. And as they go through, Logan Clampett, I would argue, is the one to beat tonight. Pending no divine intervention being found here, Logan Clampett looks like he's really in the driver's seat of this race.
Words are hard on any night, but we'll have to see what all transpires in the next 30 laps or so, because the gap's dwindling between Clampett and Nate Stewart. It seems like it's inevitable, but again, Stewart made pretty good time, but the downshifting that the 42's been doing, I think it might overcome this.
Sebastian Marin here a couple seconds behind Logan Clampett, not really able to find any extra time as it goes through here. He's currently under threat by James Scioli with gap 0.3 of a second between them, continuing to close here. Logan Clampett now right on the back of McKinney. Let's see, can he get past McKinney? Will he? Let's see as he goes down the inside, and there's the advantage of 14 lap tires versus 56 lap tires. Just a clean pass down the inside and done and dusted. And McKinney, 57 lap old tires now. Oldest tires on track, currently running second. Surely he's got to pit again, right?
One would assume, but I think he might. I don't know how long 57. You don't think he'll be good to go on fuel, because that would be pushing it to around 86, 87 laps on that tank. So that would be a feat for all, but who knows? We could get a yellow, and that could save him, could save the 05. I mean, I don't know. There's still a lot of moving variables in this with less than 30 to go.
See, for me, that's the thing at this point that would be in the back of my head that would absolutely terrify me as a driver is the thought of that all potential yellow coming up as Brad Slaughter moves out of the way from this aggressive battle for P15 between Bappy and Opplinger. Brad Slaughter there just completely pulling up to the high line and saying, you know what? I want no part of that one. Garrett Grant now getting past Bryce Sinisak as they go through. Battles continue to sort themselves out. These two battling along, Blaze McKinney and Sebastian Marin swapping places. So Marin now trying to close that gap, but that gap currently 2.4 seconds between Marin and Clampett, as Clampett is well on the pace here to catch Nate Stewart. 1.6 seconds currently the gap. And to give you an idea here, we'll go to our TV tower. There is Clampett, there is Stewart, and there's Clampett. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when at this point, as we're lap 114 to 140.
Yeah, still with no yellow in sight. Now, very similar to what happened on Tuesday night, where we went caution-free for the most part until the last 10 laps, around 6 to go. Yellow came out in the middle of turn 4, and that spiced everything up for late pit stops where fuel wouldn't be fine, or fuel wouldn't be an issue, whereas our tough, but tires would be. So if we get into that part of the race where we get a late yellow as the 87 pits, would expect a lot of 2 tires rather than 4, especially if it's only a 2-lap dash.
Yeah, 87 pitting there, 60 laps ran on that set of tires with that fuel load, so good decision from him to get off of that very quickly. 87 with a clean stop into the box, and we'll see where he goes here to the end. He's going to have fingers crossed for a yellow flag because he would love to try to make some sort of a run work here. Only about 14 minutes left of racing for these drivers to calculate things out, figure things out, and get things going. And Logan Clampett currently a quarter of a second off of Nate Stewart and continuing to push here and battle. Let's see what Clampett can do against Stewart. I would say that it's going to be right the deep end to the inside. Man, that is the difference of 20 lap versus 44 lap stint. Just absolute commitment to the inside, sends it through and is done. And now knows he has about 2 seconds on Sebastian Marin and needs to just run away with it.
Not totally do or die for the 05 to win, although that would be better than having to rely on points, but he can still point his way in, especially with Forbes Jr. being out, Zach Nichols being out of tonight's event as well. He didn't even make it to the start, so that benefits him, benefits Zach Kerr. Kerr 15th on the speedway, but the 05 still with the fuel strategy trying to coast his way into the round of 2 on fumes. It's going to be close, but if he can do it in the first half of the run, would be positive. That he can do it in the second half as Opplinger, one of our other playoff drivers, battling with the 71 of Matthew Bappy, and then behind him you'll find 2 more playoff drivers duking it out. Jeff Wright, Zach Kerr, 14th and 15th on this track. They're going to swap positions before heading into turn 1.
And as they continue along here, swapping those positions, going through, approaching 20 laps to go here in tonight's event. Who's going to be drinking the victory fuel at the end? Well, if you tell me anyone other than Logan Clampett, I'm probably going to argue it as we go through here. Garrett Grant, Jeremy Miller battling things out here. The A10 versus the number 5. Let's see what happens here. And yes, I know Jeremy Miller's in the 30. If you've missed so far, it's that beautiful paint scheme on that number 30 I'm referencing. There you go. Simrat Market. What a great paint scheme they have on there as they come through, and Jeremy Miller will settle in behind Garrett Grant as they keep this battle together. Sebastian Marin now only about a 10th of a second off of the 05 of Nate Stewart, and we'll send it up the inside of Nate Stewart. Gets his way up into second place here, and now Sebastian Marin, 1.8 seconds the gap between him and Logan Clampett. Does he have enough to catch him, though? That is my question, because well, if you're wondering what 1.8, 1.7 seconds looks like on track, it's about this much distance.
See if the lap times are any different. I mean, the gap is less than 2 seconds, so that's a plus for Sebastian Marin. But again, with 20 to go, you're going to have to tick off about a tenth a lap in order to have a shot. So a 32.449 from Marin that last time through, nearly identical between him and Logan Clampen. Now, Marin was working his way around Nate Stewart, so maybe that had a little bit something to do with it. But again, still going to have to be around a tenth a lap to catch the 42, and might have to rely on some lap traffic to slow him down just a bit more.
Let's see here as they cross the line where the times land. So as they refresh there, 4.65 to a 4.69. So still running identical times. And they are the fastest on the track by a considerable margin right now, with the exception of Blaze McKinney, of course, who just pit in a couple of laps ago. Another grouping that I want to keep an eye on here is going to be this battle right here around P10. Starts with Brody Falliker and then goes through Matthew Batby, Justin Opplinger, Bryce Sinisak, Zach Kerr, Michael Venable, and Jeff Wright, all sort of in this battle that continues to develop as they go through. Currently at the moment, Matthew Batby under the pressure from that number 55 with Brody Falliker, who is one of our drivers who's trying to make the one-stop work, who is absolutely what I would call a cork of the bottle here, as the 71 is going to go around the outside, gets the pass done. The 55 going to try to find the meat in the sandwich. Justin Opplinger thinks better of it and is just going to settle in, live to fight another day.
Now one guy licking his chops there as he's closing in on these front three. With the three in front of him, that's the 12 of Zach Kerr. Again, we mentioned earlier on that if Nate Stewart and Zach Kerr both finish inside the top 8, they'd be within the threshold to make it into the round of 8 for playoff drivers. But that is if the 12 can get into the top 8. Currently, Nate Stewart's third, and he's trying to one-stop it. 17 laps to go. The 12, he pitted on lap 100. He has fresh tires compared to those in front of him. The time is ticking for that number 12.
That it is. You can see there Brody Falliker, that one-stop commitment there. Last pit 56 laps ago and has to let that 12 go. Zach Kerr around the outside there gets a clean run through, and 16 laps to go. You'll notice those lap times. Look at that, 32.69 to a 32.89. Logan Clamp 0.2 faster than Sebastian Marin on the last lap, and that's let that gap open up to about 2 seconds. So the front of the field really opening things up, settling things through. Your big battles starting here from P10 back. But remember, we're playoff racing at the moment, so some guys maybe not as concerned about track position as they are about getting into the round of 8 that'll kick off next week at Las Vegas, and then we'll have an off week, and then in 3 weeks from now, it will be Auto Club, if I am not mistaken.
I can double check that for you. Looking through if we do have an off week, but yes, it would be Las Vegas and then Auto Club. Yeah, so July 10th, 1 week from today, would be Las Vegas, and then 2 weeks after that, July 24th, would be Auto Club before the season ending July 31st. So we're in the last month of Season 7 for all 3 area series, that being the Cup, the Trucks, and the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Heading into the closing stages of this race, though, 2.2 seconds now, the gap between Clampen and Marin. The gap is increasing. Nate Stewart holding steady in third. Skyly and Nichols inside the top 5. And then mentioned Garrett Grant, one of his better tracks here in Nashville, running P6 at the moment. Jeremy Miller in 7th, and then that 8th place spot David Weishart currently holds. And that's where Zach Kerr needs to be in order to have a decent chance to advance into the round of 8. He's about 3 seconds behind with 13 laps to go.
13 laps to go. Plenty of things still to finalize out as they go through. Right now, look at this, the 28 to 48. John Furness, Jeff Wright battling it out. 27 laps since their last pit stop, 37 laps. And then Daniel Day in the 61, 26 laps on his set of tires with 13 laps to go here. Still keeping the battle together. Then Bryce Sinisak is right there in the back. Bryce, of course, one of our drivers, committed to the one-stop bit as he goes, and he pit on lap 70 exactly. So as these 3 battle it out, this is going to be a close battle because they're I mean, they're given room, but they're racing hard, and with 12 laps to go, I mean, at this point, every position you can get counts, especially if you are Jeff Wright, who is playoff racing at the moment, trying to continue his way forward, trying to get as many points as he can and do what he can. So he has a little bit more to lose than Daniel Day and John Furness, so he's going to race a little bit harder, I'd say, than them, and he's just got to make sure that that Pepsi Zero car doesn't become a 0-0 car.
Currently sitting steady right now, just outside the top 15, running 17th on the track. And I'm looking at David Weissart, 14.72, the leader. Meanwhile, Zach Kerr, 17.2. That's about 2.5 seconds separating him and David Weissart. Again, that 8th place spot, very crucial for Zach Kerr, because if he does not get there, he'll be eliminated from the playoffs as it stands.
And that would be very unfortunate for him, not the way you want to go out of the playoffs to kind of, run through. 10 laps to go, crunch time, heading on the run. James Scioli currently 0.4 of a second off of Nate Stewart, trying to catch up to him. Again, Nate Stewart, one of our drivers, committed to that one-stop run, and James Scioli, one of the drivers running, one of the many drivers, I should say, running the two-stop strategy. So he's got a little bit more pace in that car. 32.8 to a 33 flat, though. I mean, it's not a lot of pace difference here, but it's enough that he should be able to try to clear Nate Stewart and get onto the podium places here if he can. 3rd place on the run as he comes through. But while they're sorting that out, Zach Kerr, Matthew Batby figuring themselves out here, as it looks like Matthew Batby possibly a bit of connection issues. And he's there, he's not. Well, we hired a Houdini just to make this race a little more fun.
Just a little bit. Throw some excitement in there. I mean, not that it hasn't been exciting, but no yellows to spice things up yet, as in car with the 7 of Skylerly. Again, he's trying to get around that 05 of Nate Stewart. 05's trying to get as much as he can track position-wise. Entered below the cut line heading into this race. If he finishes inside the top 8 with Forbes Jr. and Zach Nicholsby, now we know that for a shadow of a doubt, he is into the next round. So he's still going to make it through another 7 laps coming through this time. But yeah, he's holding on to that podium spot, because we get to talk to the podium paying position drivers after this one's said and done. So Scioli, pretty sure he wants to talk to us, so he'll try to take it to the outside. Not going to be much there, but they'll set up for the backstretch and into 3.
Yeah, let's see here with James Scioli as he goes through. I mean, he's driving the wheels off this thing, but Nate Stewart, I tell you what, given a hard case of defense there. Up on the gearbox of Nate Stewart. I tell you what, you got nothing but a Chevy symbol up the rear end here as we go through. Let's see here for Nate Stewart what he can do to hold off Scioli, and he's just parking the bus. I mean, I don't know how wide a Ford Mustang Xfinity car is. I don't know how wide Nashville Superspeedway is either, but I'm sure those two numbers, if you ask Nate Stewart, are the same right now, because look at this. He's just parking the bus time after time. And unfortunately for Scioli, not much he can do about it to try to get the run through. 5 laps to go. He's got to find something here to get his way through, as Matthew Batby is having some major connection issues here on the timing table. So apologies for that, as it looks like there are some storms going through the East Coast. Corey, of course, losing power, unfortunately, because that is why he's not here today. So I'm almost wondering if for Matthew Batby, that's not a similar situation for him, maybe affected by the same or similar storms.
Not sure either, but 4 to go now, and Nate Stewart still holding on to that 3rd spot. And he knows that by now, tires have evened out just about, no matter how long you've been on. If they're 30-plus laps in, then chances are they have evened out quite a bit. So he's protecting the bottom because he knows that the 7 has to get around him on the outside. If he just holds bottom, then he'll be A-OK, unless the 7 decides to apply pressure to said bumper of the 05, boot scoop boogie out of the way for a podium position. And don't really know where Scioli goes with this, because you can do that, and then the 05 still makes it to the next round, and then say theoretically these two could be duking it out for a spot to the championship, or even just a win at Las Vegas or Auto Club, as the 7's going to try to take it to the outside. It won't be enough there. But again, you don't want to rough him up too much, because if you see him in the next round of the playoffs, he could repay the favor to you.
3 laps to go here. It'll be 2 laps to go as our race leader, Logan Clampett, crosses the line. But I tell you what, this is a hard-fought battle here as they come through. 2.2 seconds, by the way, separates Clampett and Marin. Logan Clampett definitely going to be very happy. Down the inside, the 7 finally gets his way through. Can he hold and clear the pass, though? James Scaoli ahead of the 05 of Nate Stewart. Well, off the corner of 2, that answer is a resounding no as they settle back into the run here. Logan Clampett will be exiting out of 4. Down the front stretch, Barney has the white flag, and it's 1 lap to go this time by.
Boy, that battle for third is still up for grabs. Stewart trying to hold on to everything he can to have a shot into the next round of the playoffs. Meanwhile, Scaoli might give him a little love tap trying to get around him because he's been holding him up for quite a few laps, but we'll see what that story has in told for us as they're heading down the backstretch for the final time. Stewart again eating all he can, and he gets hit from the 7. He slides, but he saves it, and coming across the stripe, it's Logan Clampett getting the job done. Sebastian Marin in second. A little contact there at the end. You knew it was coming at some point, but the 7 looked like he felt a little bad about it. Backed off, and Nate Stewart gets third. The 7 gets fourth, and Jake Nichols with a top 5 finish.
That was a wild moment there. We'll go back and catch that on replay here very quickly because that was that was almost big as it came through. Let's see if we can't catch that run here with a quick PTR TV replay if I can get all of my things to work. Here we go. So let's go in and we'll catch in this final lap as it went through between those two. Yeah, we'll go here from the blimp perspective. Let's see what happens. So it was a send up the inside, a tap, a little bit of a wheel catch, and you can see Scaoli held on to it, kept it going, but then coming off the exit of 4, I mean, look at this. He just backs it way down, coming down the main stretch. Look at that. Exhaust kicking, gear shifting, and the 5 drops it down, and the 73 of Jake Nichols was absolutely just trying to steal it there at the end as well, but Logan Clampett, I mean, what a great run from him. 25 laps led, and in the end, led the one that mattered.
Yeah, and I think he started back in the 5th row, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, he didn't start inside the first 2 rows, so that streak comes to an end as well. Pole sitter does not get the job done. That was Sebastian Marin. He comes home in 2nd. We'll talk to him in a little bit, and then Nate Stewart with a resounding 3rd place finish, entered below the cut line without a shadow of a doubt. He is into the next round, and even though he didn't show up tonight, Zach Nichols is in to the next round of the playoffs by just 2 points over Zach Kerr.
And let's go through and get these final rundown of results here as Clampett pulls up onto the front stretch here. He's going to burn things down really quick. He's going to, enjoy his win here in Nashville. Burn things down. Probably go to Broadway and celebrate here in a little bit. We'll find out as he burns things down, as is his right. Let's go through these final results on the day. And it was Logan Clampett there in the win with Sebastian Marin in 2nd. Nate Stewart and James Scaoli. James Scaoli giving up that 3rd place that he had on the exit of 4 after that little bit of contact there with Nate Stewart. And they will finish 3rd, 4th. Jake Nichols there in 5th. Garrett Grant in 6th. Jeremy Miller, P7. David Weishart. Travis Beckner. Justin Opplinger. Your top 10. From there, it's P11. Babby, Kerr, Venable. John Furness, P14. Daniel Day in 15th. Jeff Wright will be in 16th. Ed Robertson, P17. Brody Falliker, Blaze McKinney, Brad Slaughter Jr. first car lap down in P20. Brad Slaughter, of course, one of our few drivers that tried to make that one stop work. Joseph Berg, Greg Mitchell, Bryce Sinisak, the other drivers who tried to make that one stop work as far as I can see. Casey Lakatos, Jonathan Evans, Reese Schaefer, Ryan Novicki, and Braxton DeWeese, the 28 drivers who took on Nashville here today. Let's see here. So one thing of note, and I think you already mentioned this, Hunter, but I'm going to mention it again. Zach Kerr is out of his playoff run.
Yeah, Zach Kerr missing out by 2 points. Blaze McKinney eliminated as well. He was out by 12 points. And then John Forbes Jr. out, as well as Jonathan Evans. But this one, playoffs don't matter to him. It's just wins. And Logan, you got the job done tonight. You came from 11th in the field to the first one across the stripe. Take us through your race and the interesting strategy calls that you had to make along the way.
Yeah, I wish we would have gotten a better starting position. But we quickly made our way up, and when I got to around like second or third, I was about 2 seconds behind Seb there. Got a pretty good pit stop and caught him that second run. I was shifting and he wasn't, and he realized that halfway through the last run. So that gave me a pretty big advantage. It helped save my right front, and I love this track. I can just paint the yellow line pretty easily and just kind of wrap around it, and the car turns by itself. So I was pretty excited to race tonight when I heard it was going to Nashville, so I decided to hop in and join and have some fun, and thankfully it went green the whole entire way. That was just a bonus.
Indeed, as it's your third win on the season and 6 starts, any chance we will see you for any of the remaining 3 starts for the Pro Series?
It's a possibility. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe I'll race Homestead or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. I've been pretty busy lately, so that's why I haven't really been showing up and racing. Schedule's been kind of getting in the way, school and stuff. So we'll just have to see if I'll make a last-minute appearance.
It's his third win on the season, and it comes at Nashville Super Speedway. Logan Clampett, your winner, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.
Thank you.
And I think from Logan, we move on to second place, Sebastian Marin. Sebastian Marin, a very, very quick car, but in the end, it seems like the pace just wasn't there, man. Kind of talk me through what happened.
Yeah, man, caught me a little bit by surprise. I knew this was probably a track that Clamp was going to be better than me pace-wise, but after that first run, I felt, pretty decent that I could hold him off. And then that second run, I mean, he ran me down, and I had nothing for him. So I knew once he went for the undercut, I knew I had to at least have more than 2 laps of tires, and just hope that I could get there. And I thought I was gonna get there, and then we just stalled out, and that was it. He was just quicker. It's just one of these tracks that just suits his style. Just wrapping the bottom all the way around for every lap. I tried moving around to see if I could find anything, and nothing was really working. It's just wrapping the bottom was just the fastest way. It's just that this is what he does. He's so good at it, and I just couldn't match it. So came up short, but I mean another second place through to the next round. So can't be too upset with it.
Yeah, definitely. It puts you in, into the round of 8 here. But, with the next 2 tracks being Auto Club and Vegas, they might be in backwards order there from how I said it. But nevertheless, next 2 tracks there being Auto Club and Vegas. How do you feel going to those tracks?
I feel really good going. I would say Vegas. I feel slightly more confident than Auto Club. Auto Club, I still feel pretty good. But again, like if somebody like Clamp shows up, I feel like he can very easily beat me there. Because again, it's just rapping. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to Vegas for sure. I love Vegas, especially now with the refresh. Should be pretty fun. Auto Club, we'll see if the top becomes dominant there. Obviously, it kind of comes in, and then hopefully the bottom ends up coming back in. Because if not, being a top fest, it's gonna be quite hard to pass. And yeah, still 2 very good racetracks to race. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and especially if they go green like this one, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, man, Sebastian, it's been fun to watch you here. I got to ask, anyone you want to thank or shout out before we let you go?
Just shout out to my team, LVV Racing. Shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast, and shout out to Area for putting on this race on July 3rd. I know obviously a lot of people are not here because of July 4th tomorrow, and happy 4th of July to everyone. Yeah, that was great. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Sebastian, congratulations on the second place, and hopefully we'll be catching up with you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
And that leaves just third place driver Nate Stewart, and he's caught up with Hunter.
Yeah, quite an exhilarating battle for third there at the very end. But first, Nate, take me through your thought process on what to do strategy wise, because heading into this race, season 3 it went caution free. There was a good chance they would go caution free again tonight, and it did just that. So it seemed like it was either a 1-stop or a 2-stop. Take us through your thought process on your pit strategy throughout the race.
I noticed in practice that it was really close to being a 1-stop, and I knew I needed points to advance, so I knew 1-stopping probably wasn't going to be the winning strategy, but I knew it would. And I qualified 6th, so like I probably could have hovered around there had I just stuck with the 2-stop strategy. But I decided to play the 1-stop and try to get track position in case a caution did come out in the middle of pit cycles, like after everyone pitted the first time around or the second time around. That would have helped me out, but I just committed to the 1-stop from the jump, and thankfully it was a net gain.
Yeah, it worked out in the end for you. You almost lost it though, coming into turn 3 on the final lap. Take us through your thoughts with the 7 breathing down your neck for the last handful of laps, and then just slightly tapping you heading into turn 3.
Yeah, that whole thing, like, my tires are absolutely killed because I had like 25 lap older tires than Scioli did, which is, oh god, it was awful. I can tell you that. But I wanted to try my best to hold on to third because I didn't know what the points were. So I don't know. I just did my best to hang on to it, but at the same time, I was having to manage fuel and all that. And then whenever it came down to turn 3 on the last lap, it was just net code between me and Scioli. It wasn't really a big deal, in my opinion. And he was nice enough to give it back, so I appreciate that. I have a lot of respect for him. So I'm thankful he gave it back, but I wasn't going to be too upset if he didn't. I mean, we were racing hard, and I was really holding him up. So, and then I actually ran out coming off 4, so I'm thankful I didn't lose that spot to Nichols there at the end either.
Well, that made it for an even more exhilarating finish than we thought after 140 laps. But congrats on the podium position. You're into the round of 8, and we'll see you next week heading into Las Vegas.
All right. Thank you.
Tell you what, Hunter, I think today was a good race. Caution free, 140 laps around Nashville. I don't feel like we could ask for much more, could we?
Could have asked for a flip, but didn't want to get too greedy.
You know what? That's a good point. But also the good news is that it means that next week we kick off the playoff round of 8, and that'll get interesting. I can't wait to see what happens there. And a big shout out to our sponsor, Victory Fuel, for the post-race interview sponsorship. Be sure to check out Victory Fuel. Really tasty, I have to add. Definitely off script there, because why would I ever follow a script that I've heard week after week for 14 weeks now? But listen, Victory Fuel is a great option. Big shout out to all the sponsors here. Hunter, any final thoughts before we send this thing off into the sunset?
Not really, but just a fun week overall. Glad that we get to switch it up, go from a 1.33 mile to a 1.5 miles. I'm looking forward to that. We always have a blast at Las Vegas, and then Auto Club in 2 weeks' time. That's always chaotic, it being the penultimate round of the season. And then Charlotte, the championship round, heading into a 1.5 miles at Charlotte for the first time in area history. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, if you want to catch Tuesdays or Thursday nights, join us here on PTR TV. Again, we're on our way to 1,800 subscribers, trying to get 2,000 by the end of the year. So just need a little bit of help to get there. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you're on the area Twitch, make sure that you give them some love there as well. On behalf of Hunter, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us for the next one where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.